So, who are you?
Hi, my name is Hui. I'm the VP of the Wuxi operations.
For Seagate, right?
That's right.
And where are we right now?
We're sitting right in front of the clean room in Building 101, and behind us we have the Factory of Future lines that's making our 2.5-inch drives.
But we're not in Scotts Valley anymore, are
No,
we?
we're not. We're sitting in China, in Wuxi in China.
And so what's going on behind us here?
As you can see, we have operators hard at work, and we're producing 2.5-inch disk drives at a rate of 1 every 4 seconds.
This is the beginning of the line, right?
Yes, this is the beginning of the disk drive process. This is the cleanest portion of our processes before we mount the PCBA to make a full disk drive.
Okay. Tell me how a disk drive is made. What does it look like inside a disk drive?
Basically, you have a platter, which we will call the media. Then we have the heads that writes and reads the data onto the drive. And it's all in a very clean environment.
Tell me sort of what the process is going down the line. Right now the drives start at the other end of the room and come out here finished?
Right. The raw materials are actually loaded at the front of the line. What we actually see here is towards the end of the line, where you can see that the operators are inspecting the drives before they are sent in this vertical conveyor that sends the drives upstairs for testing.
Okay. And how many gigabytes are on these drives?
Well, we make a variety of capacity points. The highest capacity we have today is 500 gigabytes.
Yeah. And every week you make a lot of drives.
We make a lot of
Can you
drives.
tell me how many you make every week?
We make, for a notebook itself, over 1 million drives a week.
1 million drives a week just on these lines here?
On these lines here and in another building.
In another building. How did you get into this business?
Oh, I've been with Seagate 20 years, and only in China 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And I started actually in the semiconductor business, and stumbled upon the disk drive business and haven't left it since.
Yeah. And you run the whole factory, right?
Yes, I do.
Which is several lines like what we're seeing here, because this is just one little bit of a huge factory.
That's
there.
right. You can certainly see a section of lines here in one building, and with several buildings in Wuxi.
Yeah. On the other side of this glass is a clean room. Tell me a little bit about how clean this area is and what kind of specs do you have to meet and why we're not allowed in the clean room.
Well, we can see as the operator's account is a class 100 clean room, and we maintain the class cleanliness throughout the clean room to make sure that our drives are the cleanest.
Yeah. And you have a lot of employees who work for you?
Yes, we have over 10,000 employees.
Wow. And working 24 hours a day,
24
right?
hours a day, 7 days a week. We never stop.
You never stop. What's the most interesting part of making a hard drive? What's maybe the hardest part of making a hard drive?
Well, obviously, we want to make the hardest drives the highest quality possible. So we want to make sure that we build in the quality, we test the drives so that they're robust.
Yeah. And how do you do that?
We make sure that we choose the best components we have, make sure the processes are well aligned to our requirements, and to make sure that test sequences are correct.
Yeah. Now, I'm seeing some red lights and a lot of green lights. What did the lights tell you?
Well, we like to see green lights all the way. It means the lines are running fine. Red lights normally means that there's an issue with the machines, or whether a machine has jammed, or whether it needs some maintenance, or maybe there's materials short that's not feeding to the line. So what it does is it requires attention that the supervisors or the technicians will go fix.
Yeah. Tell me, just in 3 years, how has the hard drive business changed?
I came to China 3.5 years ago,
Yeah.
and in Wuxi in those days we were making about over 10 million drives a quarter, and only three types of drives, 3.5-inch drives. The capacity points have changed a lot, going from over 100 gigabytes per drive to now 500 gigabytes per drive.
Yeah. And how often do you change out the equipment to upgrade the kind of drive you're able to make?
It depends on the product life cycle. Some may last a year, some may last more than a year. So on average, I would say 1.5 years or so.
Yeah. What are these machines doing that are taking the drives up and down?
Those are the vertical conveyors. As you can see, the drives that come up from the production line will be sent upstairs to our test facility upstairs,
Yeah.
where the drives are tested.
Now, some of the drives, we're going to see the test facilities upstairs later, but some of the drives are tested in extreme temperatures for the automotive industry.
Yes,
Tell me
they
a
are.
little bit about that.
Yes, we do have a couple of models that is meant for the automotive industry. In order to withstand the temperature requirements, the shock requirements, we put these drives through extreme tests to make sure that they pass.
Yeah. Now, these drives are just for laptops, right?
Majority are for laptops. We also have drives for the gaming sector.
Okay. So consoles that have drives in them probably have your drives.
Most
And
probably.
we can't name the consoles.
We
We
can't
can't
name
name
the consoles.
the hard drive, the computers. But if you open up your computer, you're probably going to find one of the drives
You're
that came
right.
off this factory. What's the biggest challenge of managing thousands of people? I interview lots of executives all over the world, and most of them run startups of 10 to 30 people, and you have thousands of people working for you. What's the challenge behind that?
When you have the sheer number of people that we have here, we must make sure that we have everything in place in order to facilitate the movement of the people through the production line.
Yeah.
Can you imagine at shift change, the amount of human traffic at the changing room? You must have enough space for that. You must have a system that is essentially smooth, that allows a free flow of the people.
Yeah.
You know, another example will be at break time, during the lunch and dinner times. And you need to move a lot of people through the canteen efficiently and fast to make sure that you lose least amount of downtime.
Yeah. We're going to get a tour of the R&D lab up here, where you're able to look at the materials that are on the drive and look for particles. Tell me a little bit about what that lab does.
Well, what we have is a lab that will be able to tear down the drives and analyze down to the component level for failure analysis why the drive failed in our tests, so that we can correct the problem and put in precautions to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
The challenges we see is sometimes due to different material sets, matching that with the drive processors as well as available capacity. And sometimes we have materials but no capacity based on customer requirements, and sometimes we have capacity but no materials based on supplies.
Well, that happened last winter, right, when there was a snowstorm in town. What did you do when there was 4 feet of snow and your workers couldn't get here and your parts couldn't get here?
Absolutely. So in order to make sure that we keep continuity of the supply, first of all, we try to pull in as much materials as we can, working with the logistics. And of course, as a backup, we have other sister factories helping us. So we started working with them on critical accounts to make sure that we keep continuity of supply to our customers.
Yeah. Now, what happens to the drives once they're finished and packaged? Do they go to retail? Obviously they go to customers that put them into laptops. What happens after they leave the factory?
After the drives leave the factory, it goes to various distributors, to customer hubs, where the customers will then pull into their own factories for integration into their systems.
Yeah. And we just met a bunch of customers that you have. How much interaction do you have with customers, and what's that process like? Because I know that that's a big part of your job, is to keep all those big customers very happy and make sure that they always have the hard drives that they need.
I get to meet the customers almost every week. We have a lot of customers that come to visit Wuxi, and I have a chance to meet with them, as I say, almost every week, where I will host a customer visit to make sure that I listen to their requirements and hopefully fulfill them.
Yeah. What trends are you seeing happen over the next year? What do you think will be the drives that we are going to get next year at the Consumer Electronics Show? What's going to be different about those drives than the ones that you're making right now?
Well, the drives will get faster and bigger at lower costs.
Yeah, isn't that a fun job? How do you drive costs down? Because I'm sure that you've measured every inch of this line for cost and trying to find ways to reduce cost. How do you keep reducing cost every 6 months, the way I've seen Seagate do it over the last 3 years?
We have to be very creative what we do. Making sure that we improve our working efficiency in terms of materials, in terms of labor, in terms of capital utilization. And that's a constant process. It doesn't end.
No, that's crazy. I mean, I remember my first hard drive was a 20 megabyte drive for a Macintosh, and it cost $5,000. And today you can buy a 500 gigabyte drive for $300 retail,
right?
Or less, if you shop around.
Well, that's the beauty of technology. With technology, we can manage to cram a lot more for the same amount of dollars.
What kind of skills do you need to work on this line? What kinds of workers are you looking for to hire and make sure that you can continue driving that cost down and make sure that you have a good quality product?
As you can see, there's some human dexterity required in the operators, and follow the working instructions to make sure that they comply to the processes.
Yeah. And do you need engineers here as well, or do you need mostly people who can actually physically build the product?
Building a hard drive is a high technology business. Of course, we need engineers
Yeah.
to ensure that we have the right routines in our software, to make sure the processes are correct, and make sure that we can do the right film analysis.
Yeah. Why do this in China? Why not in Taiwan or Japan or America, wherever else?
Traditionally, China has the advantage of lower labor costs, and now also with the improved education system in China, it's a happy medium between the lower labor costs and skilled engineers.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a look into your life and a look into your fab. This is really great.
Thank you.
Thank you.